All right, let's take a look at how that worked. Basically what I've done is used Keyboard Maestro to open the preferences for my cloud backup service, which is called Backblaze, and set it to essentially a manual mode. It won't do any cloud backups until I explicitly tell it to, and that means it's not going to be taking up a bunch of system resources while I'm trying to, say, bounce render something in Logic Pro. Here is the Backblaze preferences window. So the first thing I do, actually the very first thing I do, I display a text message to alert myself that I am disabling the cloud backup so that I understand why there's a little bit of a delay. Then I hide all the other applications. Strictly speaking, not necessary, but I do it because I am doing some point and click operations as part of this macro, and I want to just be sure there are no other apps that get in the way while I'm trying to do that. This is a group action that is simply a container for a set of related actions. It's just an organizational nicety, and I actually like to use this to outline the way I think a macro is going to work. So I will start a macro by outlining it using group actions as the header. Type in what I think it needs to do, and then I fill it in as I go. So it's like a functional outline, which I think is pretty cool. So here's a very simple action that simply opens the application that you tell it to, in this case, the Backblaze app. Then it pauses until the front window of Backblaze has the title Backblaze. Then it waits until Backblaze has a button called Settings enabled. So it's looking for this button to become enabled, and that won't happen until this app has loaded properly. Once it's enabled, it clicks it. Then, similarly, it waits for a button called Schedule to be enabled, and that's this guy right here. Once it is, it clicks it. And then, probably the trickiest part of this macro is that it goes to a specific screen location, but actually relative to the window. I tell it to go 398 to the right and 167 down, and that lands it right on this menu. Another way that I could get to this menu, besides clicking out a screen location, is just to click away from it and come back. I could hit tab 1, 2, and there I am on this menu. And from there I could type the choice I want, and it chooses it. Either way, but what I've chosen to do is use the mouse to click at this location. The way that you get that, Keyboard Maestro has a great tool called Mouse Display, and it lets you specify either a corner of the full screen or a corner of the frontmost window from which you want to measure the distance as a location that you need to do something with. So if I say this is the frontmost window, I want to click at this location, I hit this lock button, it counts down 5 seconds, and I can just position my mouse where I need it. And now these two coordinates are locked. And notice they're no longer changing as I move my mouse. You can copy it and then paste it, copy it and paste it. So that makes it really easy to get a screen location for clicking. Once I've done that, that would make this menu live. I then tell Keyboard Maestro to type the text only, followed by a carriage return. That's what happens if I do that physically. Then it's just a matter of pressing the OK button once that is enabled, right down here, and then quitting Backblaze. That's it. And then I show all applications to return to the previous state. So I hope that's helpful. Cheers.